Hello and welcome to 100 Yards of Football Sports. I'm Coach Kevin Bull Jones, and tonight I got a fascinating guest with me tonight who's going to break down some things about these running backs coming out in the NFL draft. A great friend of mine, a great competitor, and one thing I love about him, he's got his own business called Athletes Elite Performance. And sports fans, he trains the top running backs that are coming out in the draft, as well as some of the running backs that are currently in NFL football right now. But I'm glad that he's just getting off the field, working out a current client of his. But I just wanted to bring him back to the show because I want him to be able to bless us with some of his knowledge of what's coming out in the draft and what makes a good running back. So if you like the show, please come in and join. Sports fans, my friend, Brad Lester, former running back, Parkview High School, former running back for Auburn Tigers, and the owner, proprietor of Athletes Elite Performance. How you doing, Brad?
Man, I'm doing amazing. I have zero complaints. God's blessed me to be here today, so I can't do nothing but smile and take advantage of the day.
Well, listen, I'm going to hand this thing off to you because so many people that you've been working with, and I love how everything is growing prosperously in the right direction for you, because you had a decision to make last time we was on the show about whether you're going to coach, come down my road, which could sometimes be interesting, and or you can stay with your own business. And I'm proud of you because you decided to go with what was in your heart. And I'm just truly amazed. I'm joyful for your journey because I watch you all the time on Facebook, on YouTube. I watch you getting it. I watch you be a blessing to other people, and to be able to get paid to do it is so that you can be self-sufficient for yourself. It's nothing but a blessing. But I'm gonna turn this over to you because I want to talk about these backs coming out. I want you first to talk about the people that you have worked with. And right now we got queued up Najee Harris, of course, one of my favorite running backs in the draft. And for so many reasons, but we got my producer just queued it up. I want you to talk about him, one of the people that you train, and this is you with him now, matter of fact.
Let me tell you, so even the draft analysts right now that don't have him as a first-round draft pick, you got to be insane to think that, just look at how he moves in his drills, how fluent he is. Open field move was amazing. The biggest thing with Najee, though, real humble guy, yes sir, no sir guy. Was always on time. I never had to tell him to do nothing. And if you look at his performances week in and week out, if you look at the receivers, they were always one-on-one because everybody was in the box, worried about, what's Najee going to do. Or, we don't want them to beat us on the run game or beat us on the ground. So he was able to, really, take advantage and show his skills. And his route running is amazing. Heck, I seen them put him at the Z, the Y position at 6'1", 6'2", however tall he is, 230 pounds. You do not see that in any running back. They're running at the receiver position. They're efficient every single time they touch the football, on the run game. His pass protection, it was second to none. And the biggest thing I told him that I felt like he needed to work on before this past season was just his one-on-one moves and his open field moves, which, obviously, you see from the film and even from some of the drills, it's close to phenomenal, and you can't beat that. Anybody that doesn't see him as a top 5 pick, I don't know what, maybe it's a marketing thing that they're trying to do to make it try to seem like, oh, he's not going to get drafted early, and then he gets drafted early, and like, oh, wow, surprise to everybody. But, it's clear as day, best running back in the NFL draft, best running back in Alabama history, broke Derrick Henry's record, yes. Who's the number 1 running back back-to-back 2 years. So how do you tell a guy that is coming out in that same position, same school, same conference, that he's not the best running back in the draft and not a first rounder? It don't even make sense. It's like we're paying experts, and it's like, okay, well, what kind of expert are you? Because now, if we look back in 2 years or a year from now, and maybe he's right, I might be like, well, okay, all right, I see what he meant. But numbers-wise, production-wise, film-wise, personality-wise, there's zero questions.
Well, here's 2 questions I ask. I want to ask you because you've been working with him. And I had a chance to, when I go to the coaching clinics down in Alabama, and I had a chance to sit with Coach Huff, Charles Huff, who was his position coach. And Najee would come in, man, and that big smile on his face, He would come in and just start talking like we've been friends forever. That really impressed me about him. There was no ego with this kid. He was so humble. He talked to my son. It was just amazing how this young man was full of so much glow about him. But I want to ask you about, you talked about open field stuff with him. I noticed his durability, but tell me about the jumping, how he hurdled people.
And so if you look at a lot of drills that we do, we work on a lot of plyometric drills, jumping drills, and just getting comfortable, setting up your open field moves. And I say that with everybody. When you're setting up your open field moves, you got to press the defender, get close to where you can almost smell his breath, and then make your moves. That's going to be jumping over him, sidestepping him. With him already having his whole frame, he made it a lot easier than most running backs can. So that is something that we talked about. I know Nick Saban wasn't a big fan of it. And I remember he said something in the interview. He's like, I coach him not to do that. He said, but clearly I'm not the expert in that area. So whoever told him to do that, okay, thank you. So I think I was at the Notre Dame game, and I actually kind of started laughing at him because that's just something he does in his own anyway. But once I saw him do it, I said, all right, well, then, let's work on that, since that's something that he already does in his game already.
That's an elite part of his game. Let's go to the next guy, Tank. I think Tank Grisby is the next running back from actually Auburn. This producer's going to cue him up. This is Tank now. Talk about him a little bit.
Man, the second day I worked with him, everyone said, what do you think about it? Who's your mind? I said, I know this is going to sound funny. I said, he's a younger, more advanced version of Najee Harris right now. And this before he stepped on the field. I have interviews from right when I said it. And they're like, no, it can't be. No, he can't be that good. He hadn't got to college. I said, I don't know what it is. Just something about, I can read players when they come to workouts, take them through certain drills. I'm like, oh man. And then I watch the film, and it just kind of, watching his attitude, his demeanor, how he carries himself. Tell him we got a 30-second break, and he'll be like, no, I'm ready to go now. Type deal. So like, just to see how he works. He came in, he was throwing up within 20 minutes of the workout, and that's just how hard he was pushing himself. He's going to be one of the best in the SEC over the next few years. He's actually currently only working out at the school now. So he hasn't trained with me since last summer. They want him just training at the school, which is something I respect. If the school wants him only training there, I always respect that and respect coach's decision. But I'm telling you, he's a humble kid. He has a great family. His mom is a sweet lady, raised him the right way. And that just says a lot about a lot of these players is to see, how they interact or how they respond to certain things. And it tells me a lot about how they were raised. So, I always try to give hats off, so hats off to his mom and his family for, where they raised him off the field. And, obviously he's a phenomenal athlete and going to be one of the best in the SEC.
Well, I really believe that, when you take your time to work with these athletes, and here's the bridge that I keep trying to get these young coaches to understand. And some of them do, so I'm not really knocking them. But it's imperative that we spend some time mentoring these young men about the next moves, that not just what they make as far as a career, but how they conduct themselves. And I believe that labor love is what it's our task to give that to them in so many words, whether it's training, whether it's the time we spent, whether it's mentoring, whatever the case may be. And I'm impressed, Brad, because you do all of that, and they need it.
I'm very honest with the players I work with. I tell them, because I've been through some stuff, when it comes to that, and I tell them, it's like, look, man, I said, don't make stupid decisions. Like, when you're joking around about certain stuff, say, even though it may be funny, let it be funny to you and your friends. It ain't got to be on social media. You ain't got to do this. You ain't got to do that. So I'm always on them about, especially when I see certain things on their social media, I might be like, hey, take that down. It may be taken like this. Even though you meant this, it may be taken to something else. So I'm always on them about it. They may have a bad game or say they had a bad scrimmage. And I'm like, man, that was 2 hours ago. Next, let's get ready for next. Get ready for the next one. So I'm constantly trying to, uplift, just because I've been through a lot when I was in college and after college, and so some of the things I experienced. I love the opportunity and chance to be able to share this with these players, to help them not get in some of the same situations, or help them overcome stuff before it does happen.
Amen. And I respect and love that you take time to do that, because it is a calling what you do. We have some clips of my nemesis, and if he gets to see this, I'm still mad at him, because I'm probably still in a little therapy over this Alvin Kamara. I see you work with him, and and he got me in a state championship game against Norcross, and
I
and
remember.
yeah, I probably remember that too. But last play of the game, he scored on me, but still a phenomenal athlete. Talk about him.
Phenomenal. So it's crazy. I had started working with Alvin. He had to be about 16. He was still at Norcross High School.
So it's your fault he beat me. It's your fault.
I'd be some just a little bit, maybe 1%.
Hey, wait till I tell my wife it's your fault.
1% reason. So it's funny, like, man, he's another guy. It's just I'm fortunate to get players that I was able to work with back then. Another humble guy. You know, you would never know he was Alvin Kamara back then when he was doing what he was doing. Always worked hard. And the biggest thing I always told him was, hey, man, you don't have to be the starter. You don't have to be the number one guy. So it's about what you do when you get the football. So at Norcross High School, he split time with Miles Archer a lot. When he went to Alabama, he was number 6 on the depth chart. He went to junior college, he split time. And then he went to Tennessee, and he was still the backup. I said, what you do when you get the football is all that matters. And I mean, I'm very happy to see his success and just to see him be able to come over the adversity he came through, of not being able to be the guy, every down. And now he kind of created, the next generation of running backs, the running back that can run the football, be in the slot, punt return, kick return. You don't see a lot of running backs doing what he was doing before he was doing it. And that speaks volumes for him, and just even how he carries himself off the field. A very, very humble guy. He doesn't hang with a lot of people. I haven't worked with him in years now. Just because once they go pro, a lot of them they're in their own state, and which is good. I'm always here to support him, and pretty sure he'll be back soon. But man, just to see where he's come from, and no one even know his name. I remember when I mentioned his name before when he was even at Tennessee. People were like, "Who was that?" I'm like, "You'll see. You'll find out in the next couple of years." And to see him, get picked up by the Saints and just do what he's doing and breaking all these NFL records, and I take pride and joy, and I brag about a lot of players, and some people are like, "Oh, you're taking credit for success." I'm like, "No, not at all." I said, I'm just really happy for him because I got to see the process, and I got to see how hard he worked. The stuff he wanted to talk about off the field. It's like, "Hey, coach, what do you think about this?" Even when he was getting ready to leave for the draft, he didn't want to leave for the draft. I remember I said, got to get out of there. He's like, "Coach, they don't." He said, "I don't know if that's a good idea." I said, "If you don't leave," I said, "it's not going to be a good situation for you." I said, things just look shaky. And long story short, that next year, the whole staff got fired. That running back, that was in front of him, I don't even think he plays running back anymore. I think he moved to tight end. Just everything would have been completely different for him, especially coming from the number 2 spot.
Well, I definitely know watching, like I said, we were, I had a lot of friends that turned off that state championship game against Norcross because it was a late game. We were the last game at the Georgia Dome, and everybody thought we were going to win. Listen, he had 37 carries and he had 130 yards. And I mean, we were just tattooing him, and they made a great adjustment at halftime because Miles Archery, like you mentioned, was who we split the back time with. And he really had an injury, and he was a decoy first half. And then second half, they got him the ball, and that just created some matchup problems. But it was a great game. We had a big-time running back, Travis Custis at Lovejoy. And then the ironic part about it is and he told me, he said, "Coach, I got a chance to talk to." Actually, I talked to Miles Archery, and he said, "Coach, we had to just draw something up that out and up, and that got us." And but what a game! I'm still in therapy. I'm not going to talk about too much more because we want to keep talking. But the funny part about it, what I want to share is he ended up when he got to Alabama. When he got to Alabama, just as you mentioned, he had some problems, and then he went to Hutchinson up in Kansas, and that's where Travis Custis was, and they were a tandem again in the backfield, splitting time. And I think Alvin had 2,000 yards in maybe 7 games.
I wouldn't doubt
Unbelievable.
it. I wouldn't doubt it.
But knowing that young man, and for you be able to help nurture him, even at a more important age when he's young, that's even more important because he had that elite fame that started coming to him later on. And I just want to say hats off to what you've done. And here's the thing about it, Brad. the lives you touch and the way you touch them, it's like a flower when you plant a seed and you watch it grow, and they come back and thank you
Yes, sir.
because of what you've done. And that's why I wanted you to come back and talk. So let's talk about a few of the other. We have some more clips here. I don't know which running back this is, but I'm sure if you see it, you'll be able to tell me which running back this is on this breakdown here.
He was actually the starter for Buffalo going into last season. He had a situation that happened and had to sit out the first 4 games. But Dylan McDuffie, I'm telling you right now, that is one I will watch for in next year's Doak Walker Award. Downhill guy, big physical. It's about 6'1", 225 pounds, and fast and explosive. He just got caught in a situation last year where another guy got an opportunity and that other guy didn't look back, and that other guy ended up being one of the top running backs in the NCAA last year. So now this year's his year. He's been here a lot, working in Atlanta. He'll actually be back here in about 2 weeks for about 4 to 5 weeks to get ready for the season. And that just tells a lot about how dedicated he is to leave Buffalo and come down here, find an Airbnb, and stay here for weeks at a time just to find ways to get better. And his spring practice was phenomenal. The coaches were very happy with him, and he's going to end up being their guy this next season.
Wow, that's amazing story and a true testament to the belief in these young men have about what you do and why you do what you do. Your why is profound, and that's a great story about him. Let's talk about we have another. I think this is the same kid or maybe somebody different if you can see it. This kid right here out of Texas.
Roschon Johnson out of Texas. So the funny story about him, he actually played quarterback all through high school and even his freshman year at Texas. He changed over to running back last year. Was a little nervous about the situation and just trying to get comfortable. Biggest thing we've been working on with him, you can see here, working on pad level and balance and trying to get him to get used to staying lower when he's coming out his cuts and when he's in his stance. Because at the quarterback position, you're standing tall at all times for the most part. So him having to transition to getting in a lower position and working on his lateral balance and things like that. To see the progression of him over the last year has been amazing, man. I mean, he that kid works hard, man, and on his own, like he's doing drill after drill. I see him posting. I've been there just a couple times, but like he's always working, and to see his production this spring, because they post a lot of their highlights on their Instagram stories, and he's been going off. I mean, they have a big time running back there, but he's looking like he's going to be in the rotation to be one of the guys as well, just like he did last year. I like the spin move he just did right there. We work a lot on that. But I mean, he's a great kid, very humble. Yes, sir. No, sir. A huge believer in his faith. And all he knows to do is work hard.
Amazing. And that kind of reminds me of you because you split some time with some pretty good running backs at Auburn. I mean, the list goes on and on. Who doesn't know? But you held your own.
Irons, Ben Tate. It's a long list.
And you were right there with him and toe to toe. Okay, so with that being said, I want to know from you, the owner of Athletes Elite Performance. I want you to give it to the sports fans, all of my viewers that are watching now, because I have the guru. Now, I have a young man called Guru of Abs, Deshaun Johnson, that has his own thing. I'm going to get him on the show soon. That's one of my former players from Columbia High School. Okay. But you are the running back guru. I want you to tell me, how is this draft going to shape up? I want you to tell me the top 5 guys coming out. I know everybody talks about some people, but I'm going to be quiet and I want to hear from you. Who are the top 5 running backs coming out in the draft? And I want you to go from 5 to 1. How about that?
Okay, so 2 of the guys' names I don't know. So number 5 right now, and I actually think he's a sleeper pick, and a lot of people aren't going to believe me. And that's Caleb Huntley. That's who I just finished working with. He's a big back. I mean, he's 5'11", 225, runs a 4.5 40-yard dash. His lateral movement is amazing. And I told him in his film, I said, why don't you work on this more? He said, well, no one's ever to coach me to do this or do that. He said, I just knew to run. I said, man, if you use your open field moves more, your stock will go through the roof. So I got him at number 5. He's just not really known because he came out of Ball State. They're not really a big conference, so they don't get a lot of press. Number 4, it's 2 running backs out of University of North Carolina. One of his last name is
Williams and Carter.
So I got Carter at number 4.
Okay.
Explosive guys. Those guys kind of just came out the scene out of nowhere. And just to see how week in and week out, how dominant they were against these defenses. I mean, it just didn't get any better than that. So I had him at number 4, just because he supplemented Williams very well. Williams was the guy that supplemented him very well, and to be so close in numbers, I mean, you can't help but put him in that slot. So a lot of people gonna get mad at me about this, but number 3, I got Travis Etienne out of Clemson.
From Clemson.
Yes, sir. So I know a lot of people even have him at number 1. I'm like, no, I got him at number 3.
Why is that?
I think after last season and really evaluating, him based off the other running backs, he's a great running back. I'm not taking that from him at all. But just some of the things he does compared to the others, and some of the things he would have to do at the NFL level, I haven't seen from him. As far as pass protection, physicalness, getting downhill. It's just, I don't want to talk bad about a guy because he's a great running back. I mean, he's gonna go further than I did, but just my assessment, and just from what I've seen. I say that to say he has a lot of room to get better, and then that's the scary part. Once he figures those things out and gets better in those other areas, he may be the number 1 back. But right now, I have him at number 3. Number 2, I got the Williams kid out of UNC. I mean, he's a guy. If Najee wasn't sitting there on the board, he would be the number 1 back in this draft class. I mean, he can catch the football. He gets downhill. I mean, I watch the small things. So, like, he'll run over a safety, and they're getting up out the bottom of the pile, and he's just talking. He's just talking to the safety, talking to him. I love it. But that's a guy that he not trying to win. He's going to win. He's going to take it from you. And that kind of attitude is something I love at the running back position, man. And you don't find that in a lot of backs, being that dominant and physical with safeties, and safeties starting to move out the way. So I got number 2. And obviously number 1, I mean, I got to go with my guy Najee Harris, man. I mean, phenomenal player, phenomenal person. Got hands out the backfield. You got a receiver at running back. You got a lineman at running back. You got a running back that's a real running back. You got everything in one body. And he's 6'1", 6'2", 230 pounds, and runs like an Olympic sprinter. I mean, you can't the things he brings to the table. And he's broke Alabama's rushing record over Derrick Henry, who's the top running back in the NFL the last 2 years. So that validates and backs up my point. Just in case anybody's like, well, why would you say he's number 1? But I mean, hands down, number 1 back in the draft. If he didn't go top 5 or top 10, I would be very amazed. I see him in Atlanta. If he's not in Atlanta, I see him at Pittsburgh. Look at Atlanta's setup right now. And I know they got to be thinking the same thing. You got Julio Jones on one side. You got Gage in the slot. You got Calvin Ridley on the other outside. Matt Ryan still has 2 years in him. And even if they want to go get another quarterback, it's going to be so many quarterbacks early in the second round. It's going to be sitting there that they can grab. The only piece that they're missing is a dominant running back. So now you're trying to tell me you got Najee Harris in the backfield, and you only got 6 to 7 in the box because you got to double Julio, or you got to double Calvin. One of them got to be doubled. And then Gage is an amazing receiver. So from him to leave the SEC to go to where there's usually 8 people in the box, and now he's probably going to see 6 to 7 in the box. Man, NFL Rookie of the Year, Running Back of the Year next year if he's in Atlanta. That part's going to depend on the system. So that system, his stats should be off the chart. The other team I can see getting him early is the Steelers. They play hardcore defense and just get downhill. So he'll probably take more pounding. He won't really get used as much as in the pass game there, but I see that as another home for him as well.
Gotcha. Brad Lester, I'm gonna tell you something. That was a great breakdown. No disrespect to the guys that do it on the big networks, but when you played it and you coached it, or you evaluated and had to scout it all the time, that is what gives credence to me when you're evaluating, you're talking about talent. Maybe, who knows, maybe one day you and I might be on that big screen talking from Coach Bull Jones, Brad Lester, Athletes Elite Performance. My brother, I love what you do. Thank you for coming on the show. Final words from you.
I just want to tell you I appreciate you, because even when we had to talk, last year this time, your words went a long way, man, and just helped me make a decision on what I wanted to do with my career. And just want to tell you thank you, appreciate you for that. And, I'm gonna try to pass it down to the next generation and help these guys get through as well. And then I think that's the goal, man, is to have people that help me. That's why people are like, man, why are you so willing to do this? Why are you so willing to do that? I said, I had someone do it for me. So, I want to do it for the next person as well. And I appreciate you for that.
Hey, I love you. Thank you for all that you do. And we're going to keep following you, and we're going to chat again soon down the road. Thank you so much for taking time to be with us this evening. And folks, if you enjoyed the show, please share amongst your friends. We are 100 yards of football sports. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.